My name is Sarah, and I'm 29 years old. If someone told me that my own sister would lock me in a bathroom on her wedding day, I would have never believed it. But sometimes, the people you love the most hurt you the deepest. Let me take you back a few months. My younger sister's name is Lena. She was always treated like the princess of the family. Everyone praised her beauty, her smile, her charm. I was the quiet one, always working, always helping, but rarely noticed. When Lena got engaged, our parents were overjoyed. But soon they realized they didn't have enough money for the kind of wedding she wanted. Lena got angry. She cried and said she wouldn't get married if her wedding wasn't big and beautiful. I watched all of this quietly. And even though I wasn't close to her anymore, I decided to help. I told myself it was the right thing to do. So, I secretly paid for most of the wedding: hall, decorations, food, music, even her dress. I didn't want anyone to know, so I gave the money to my best friend Emma, who is a wedding planner. I told Emma not to tell anyone that I was the one paying. I thought I would surprise Lena after the wedding. She took all the credit. Everyone praised her taste, her planning, her beauty. I stood quietly in the back, just happy to see her smiling. But deep down, I didn't know something horrible was waiting for me. On the morning of the wedding, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "Today is her big day. I'm glad I helped." But I had no idea that by the end of the day, I would walk away from everything. The wedding day started off calm. The sun was shining, birds were chirping, and I wore a simple light blue dress that matched the wedding colors. I didn't want to stand out. I just wanted to be there for Lena and see her happy. When I arrived at the venue, the place looked amazing. Flowers everywhere, white chairs, soft music playing. I smiled quietly, knowing I had paid for almost all of it, but no one knew. Lena looked like a model in her wedding dress. Everyone surrounded her, taking photos, giving hugs. She barely even looked at me. Then something strange happened. One of her friends, Mia, walked up to me with a fake smile and said, "Hey, Lena wants to see you in the back room. Something about your hair." I was confused, but I nodded and followed her through the hallway to a small guest restroom. As soon as I stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind me. Click. It locked. I knocked on the door.
Mia?
"What's going on?" No answer. I pulled on the handle. It wouldn't open. I was locked inside. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe the door was jammed. Maybe someone would come soon. But after 10 minutes, then 20, I knew something was wrong. I took out my phone, no signal. There was no window, no way to shout loud enough through the thick door. Panic slowly crept in. My heart beat faster. I couldn't believe this was happening. Who would lock me in?
And why?
I sat on the little bench inside, my hands shaking. The music outside had started. That meant the ceremony was beginning. And I was trapped. On the day I helped make perfect, I was being treated like garbage. Still, the worst part wasn't being locked in. It was realizing that Lena must have been behind it. I sat alone in that tiny restroom, staring at the white walls. My dress was wrinkled now, and my hair had fallen flat. I had spent hours getting ready, not to show off, but to simply be part of the day. Minutes felt like hours. Eventually, I heard footsteps outside the door. I stood up fast and knocked hard. "Hello? Please, I'm stuck in here." It was one of the venue staff members, a kind older woman named Janice. She was shocked to find the door locked from the outside. "Oh dear, what happened?" she asked as she unlocked it with her keys. I stepped out holding back tears. "I don't know, someone told me my sister needed me, and then the door shut and locked." Janice looked upset. "That's awful. You've missed everything." The ceremony just ended. My chest tightened. I missed the wedding? I rushed to the main hall, but by the time I got there, people were already eating. Laughter filled the room, clinking glasses and loud music. No one noticed me at first. I spotted Lena laughing with her bridesmaids, including Mia. My heart dropped. She saw me, but instead of being surprised or sorry, she rolled her eyes and looked away like I was just a problem that wouldn't go away. That's when it hit me. She knew. She planned it, and she didn't care. I quietly walked to the side of the room, pulled out my phone, and called my best friend Emma. Cancel the flower payment, I whispered. Stop the music service. Pull the catering deal if they haven't been paid in full yet. Emma paused. Are you sure? Yes, I said firmly. I paid for everything. And now I'm done. After I ended the call with Emma, I stood still for a moment, watching the celebration I had paid for. Everyone was smiling, laughing, dancing, and none of them knew I was the reason this whole event was even happening. Until now. Within minutes, things started to shift. The music suddenly stopped. The DJ looked confused and spoke into his headset. I could see staff moving toward the kitchen. The servers began slowing down. People looked around, puzzled. Then, the flower vendor came in and started removing the centerpiece flowers from the tables. One by one, in front of everyone, guests began whispering, "What's going on? Why are they taking the food away? Did someone forget to pay?" And just like that, the magic was gone. Lena walked up to the DJ with an annoyed face. "Why is the music off?" He replied nervously, "Sorry, we just got notice the payment didn't go through. We were told to stop immediately." Now, the panic reached her eyes. She turned toward the flower vendor. "Why are you taking everything? What's happening?" And that's when I stepped forward. Everyone turned to look at me. My face was calm, but my hands were shaking. "I'm the one who paid for this wedding," I said clearly, loud enough for the guests to hear. A loud gasp spread through the room. Lena froze. I pulled a small envelope from my purse and handed it to her. "This has a full list of everything I covered and everything I just canceled." She opened the envelope with shaking hands. Her face turned red. "You did this," she whispered. "You locked me in the bathroom," I said softly. "This wedding wasn't a gift. It was a show. And I won't be used anymore." Then I turned around, walked through the shocked crowd, and left the building without saying another word. I didn't cry as I walked to my car. Not even when I sat down behind the wheel and stared at my reflection in the mirror. But my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Missed calls from Mom. Missed calls from Dad. 3 angry messages from Lena. One said, "You ruined my wedding." Another said, "You're dead to me." I turned my phone off. When I got home, I sat on the couch in silence. I wanted to feel sad, but mostly, I felt relief. For the first time in a long time, I had stood up for myself. But the storm wasn't over. The next morning, Mom and Dad showed up at my apartment. I opened the door slowly. They didn't look happy. "How could you do this to your sister?" my mom shouted the second she stepped inside. "Do you have any idea how embarrassed we were?" Dad added. I stayed quiet for a moment, then calmly said, "She locked me in a bathroom on her wedding day." They paused, but only for a second. "You should have handled it later," Mom snapped. "Not in front of everyone." "So, I should have just let her walk all over me?" I asked. "Let her steal the credit for everything while treating me like garbage?" "She was under stress," Dad muttered. I couldn't believe it. They weren't angry about the bathroom. They were angry that I stopped the show. That's when I realized something important. It wasn't just Lena. My whole family only cared about appearances. So I looked them in the eye and said, "I'm done. I'm done being your backup plan, your wallet, your punching bag. Please leave." They stared at me, shocked. Then slowly, they turned and walked out. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. 3 days passed. I didn't talk to Lena. I didn't talk to my parents. I didn't even open social media because I didn't want to see photos from the wedding or hear any gossip. I stayed quiet. Then something unexpected happened. I got a knock at my apartment door. When I opened it, I froze. It was Ben, Lena's groom. He looked nervous, holding a coffee in one hand and a small paper bag in the other. "I didn't know where else to go," he said. I stepped aside and let him in. My heart was racing. "I wanted to say thank you," he said, sitting down. "I found out everything, what you did, what she did. And honestly, I'm so sorry." I didn't know what to say. He looked completely different, tired, angry, and sad. "She told me you tried to ruin the wedding. That you wanted attention," he explained. "But last night, her bridesmaid Mia messaged me. She told me the truth, that Lena asked her to lock you in the restroom. I blinked. She admitted it? He nodded. And then I found out who paid for everything.
You.
There was a long silence. I left the hotel, he said. I canceled the honeymoon. I'm staying with a friend right now. You're not staying with her? I asked carefully. Ben shook his head.
No.
I don't think I even know who I married. He handed me the paper bag. Inside was a slice of chocolate cake and a small card. I opened it. You did something brave. I hope you never stop. My eyes filled with tears, but I didn't let them fall. He stood up. I don't know what happens next, but I needed you to know you were the only honest person at that wedding. And then he left. That moment changed everything. A week after the wedding, the whole thing exploded online. Someone at the wedding had recorded the moment when the music stopped, the flowers were taken, and I revealed I had paid for everything. That video ended up on social media, and it went viral. Thousands of people commented. Some called it the boldest move ever. Others called Lena a spoiled brat who got exactly what she deserved. Even local news websites picked it up. I didn't say anything publicly. I didn't need to. But Lena? She couldn't hide. Vendors came forward, saying she hadn't paid them. The wedding photographer canceled the final edits because of unpaid dues. The catering company shared their side of the story. Even her fancy bridal dress shop said she owed a balance. And to make things worse, her job found out. She worked in PR, a job where image and reputation matter. After a few days of bad press and angry calls from clients, she was let go. She posted a long message online calling me a backstabber and blaming everyone else for her downfall. But no one believed her. Even her friends slowly stepped away. Even Mia, the bridesmaid who locked me in the bathroom, publicly apologized and blocked Lena. It was strange watching it all happen from a distance. I didn't smile. I didn't celebrate. I just felt done. Lena tried to call me once. I didn't answer. Some people only realize what they had after they've lost it. But by then, it's too late. After everything that happened, I knew I needed to focus on myself. Not the drama, not the past, not the family that only saw me as a backup plan. So, I made a decision. I quit my part-time job at the boutique. It didn't make me happy anymore. Instead, I took a leap and started something I had only dreamed of, a small event planning business of my own. I called it True Grace Events because grace is something I had to show myself first. I already had experience helping plan Lena's wedding, even if it ended badly. I also had contacts from Emma and vendors who actually respected me now. One florist even offered me a discount for future work. At first, I took small gigs, birthday parties, bridal showers, backyard weddings. But slowly, word got out. People remembered me from the viral video, but not as the sister who ruined a wedding.
No.
They remembered me as the woman who stood up for herself and had an eye for beauty, timing, and detail. I built a website, made business cards, and started getting booked for months in advance. Best of all, I was finally doing something for myself. No one controlled me. No one used me. I wasn't in anyone's shadow anymore. Even Emma joined me part-time, and together we made the business grow faster than I imagined. One afternoon, I looked around my tiny home office, smiled at the fresh flowers by the window, and whispered to myself, "This is just the beginning." A few months later, life felt peaceful in a way it never had before. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building something of my own. Then one day, I got a text from Ben.
Hey.
I hope you're doing well. Would you like to grab coffee sometime? I stared at it for a minute. He had been quiet since he came to my apartment after the wedding. No pressure. No awkward messages.
Just space.
Respect. I replied.
Sure.
Tomorrow? We met at a small cafe near the park. It was simple, no fancy clothes or wedding pressure, just two people sitting across from each other, finally at peace. I've been thinking about you, Ben said gently. And not just because of what happened. I sipped my coffee and smiled a little. I've been thinking about you too. We talked for 2 hours. About work, healing, dreams. No talk of Lena, no bitterness. Just honesty. That coffee turned into walks. Those walks turned into dinners. And soon, dinners turned into something more. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic. But it was real. 1 year after that horrible wedding day, I found myself standing at a small hilltop, wearing a light pink dress, with Ben beside me, not in front of hundreds of people, but with just a few close friends and a simple bouquet. This time, no one got locked in a bathroom. No one needed to be paid off. It was quiet. It was peaceful. And it was mine. As we walked down the hill hand in hand, I looked up at the sky and thought, sometimes people will try to erase you from the story. But when you write your own ending, they can't touch it.